Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Krista and today's video is what I eat in a day. So I've been eating low carb for a couple weeks. It helps with my stomach. I have a lot of issues of eating gluten and things. So I wanted to show you what I've been eating. With that being said, I'll get started on showing you how I made my breakfast. So I just have some onions and tomatoes sauteing in a skillet. You want to wait until the onions are translucent before you add the spinach. And once they are, I went ahead and added the spinach and cooked that until the spinach was kind of wilty. And then I just sprinkled in some garlic powder. You could also do minced garlic if you kind of want more of an intense garlic flavor. I wanted to add more protein to the veggie scramble, so I just added some bacon bits. Now I'm just going to move everything to one side and I'm going to add eggs. I have 6 eggs here with some cottage cheese and salt and pepper, and I just poured it on one side of the pan. And then as they start to cook, I start to incorporate the veggies into the eggs to create the scramble. And now I'm just putting the scramble on the plate. Now I'm just taking some shredded pepper jack and some crumbled feta and adding it to the top of the scramble. You can obviously use any cheese that you would like. One of my goals for this year is to eat more fruit and veggies, so I have a bowl of sliced strawberries on the side to have with the scramble. I've seen a lot of people make these cucumber salads, so I'm doing my own take on one. I'm going to start by taking a couple mini cucumbers and I'm going to peel them. This step's optional, I just don't like the texture of the skin sometimes. And then I cut them down the middle and I cut them into little half circles and placed them into 2 jars. Now I'm going to take a tomato and I'm only going to use about half of it and save the other for another recipe. And I'm just dicing it and I'll add that to the jar. Now I'm going to take half of an onion. This one's a sweet onion. I just diced it up and added it to each jar. And then I'm going to add some of this crumbled feta. You can add as much or as little as you want. I just went with what looked good to me. And now I'm going to add a drizzle of this balsamic vinaigrette to each of the jars. And once I add that, I'm going to go ahead and put the lids on and shake the jars until everything's mixed. This was so good. I literally just took the lid off and ate it right out of the jar using a fork. It was so delicious, and I would definitely make it again. And for dinner, we just had the viral tomato feta pasta. So I started by taking a pan and putting some olive oil on the bottom and kind of making sure it was like greased. And then I took some grape tomatoes, sprinkled it on there, did some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And now I'm just taking a spoon and kind of moving everything around to make sure they're all coated. And then I just took a block of feta and put it right in the middle and kind of put the tomatoes around it. Now I'm taking a couple teaspoons of minced garlic and kind of sprinkling it on top of the tomatoes, and then I just kind of mixed it around. And then I just baked the tomatoes and feta for 20 minutes at 375. And once they're baked, I took a spoon and kind of mixed them around, made sure that the cheese was soft, the tomatoes were soft, and kind of mixed it together. And then I just took a couple handfuls of fresh spinach and mixed it into the cheese and tomato mixture. I wanted to add more protein, so I have some chicken that we cooked in a skillet, and I just added it right to the pan. And then I just cooked it for about 5 or 10 more minutes just to make sure that everything was hot. Once I took the pan out of the oven, I just microwaved a few bags of these zucchini spirals and I added them to the pasta. The first bag I didn't drain, which I'd recommend that you do drain them because it's going to make your pasta like really watery. But the second bag I did drain, and then I stirred it in. And I just topped the pasta with some shredded Parmesan. I'm someone that struggles with a sweet tooth, so these protein cookie dough balls are perfect. And they're only like 5 ingredients, so I'll show you how I make them. So I just take a stick of butter that I softened, and you can either leave it out or soften it in the microwave for a few seconds. And then I take a little bit of brown sugar Truvia, which you can use any other sweetener that you would like. This is just the one that I prefer. And I mix the butter and the sugar together like you would any other cookie. And now I'm going to add a splash of vanilla. And then I add a cup of almond flour. And I mix that together. It's going to seem kind of dry at first, but you have to keep stirring it and then it starts to come together. Now I'm going to add some chocolate chips. There's a lot of good options. I use sugar-free. You can do Lily's, Enjoy Life. There's a brand called Bake Believe. So whichever ones you prefer. Now I'm just taking my cookie scoop. This is a 1.5 tablespoon scoop, but you can make them big or as small as you want. And then I'm just rolling them out in my hands and placing them on a plate. And I just store these in the fridge. I'd say they last probably 2 to 3 days. I really like this recipe. You can do brown sugar sweetener, or you can do like regular sugar sweetener. I've tried both, and I prefer the brown sugar one. I think it tastes more like an actual chocolate chip cookie, but it depends on your preference. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'm curious which recipe was your favorite. Also, if you have any recipes that are low carb that you want to share, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.